Hey guys, we got another little shop project here. What I'm going to be doing is making a modification to our Precision Matthews lathe, just a real simple modification. What I have done is I've had my buddy Joe at the welding shop form up this shelf for me out of some aluminum. This looks like, I think he said he used 11 gauge aluminum, and it's broken into this shape that you see right there to make a simple shelf. And what I wanted to do is just add a shelf to the top of the chip pan right there. I'm sorry, the splash guard on the Precision Matthews lathe. There's a flat edge at the top there, so we've got enough surface that all I got to do is maybe just drill, I'd just say maybe 3 holes in this, and we can just set this right on top of the splash guard, bolt it in with a few screws, and then I will have a shelf here. Let me grab one of the tools. We'll have a shelf right here that whenever when it's set up, I can set my tools up here on that. And we also might drill some holes in it as well to where we can drop our live centers and drill chucks maybe over here on the far end. So real simple little mod. I'm excited to get that done. So I actually have a place up here that all of the tool holders, the turning tools, they can all sit there all the time, and they're not here taking up room in the drawers of the toolbox. I also had the Pensacola rubber and gasket cut me a couple of strips of rubber. This one here, the narrow one's going to be for this, so we'll have it lined with rubber. The other one is going to be for that other aluminum cover that I mounted around there on top of the water heater and the water fountain. That's what this other piece of rubber is going to go for right there. So let me figure out my hole pattern. We'll drill a couple holes in this and get it mounted up there on the lathe. Thought I would show you guys what I'm talking about here. So we're going to set it right up on top of this guy right here. Be something like that. I think I'm going to go with about a 1-inch overhang on the back and let the rest of it hang out here. I think we're going to have adequate support on the top of this, and that should be good enough just for setting some tools up there. And then I think down here on this end we can probably drill us a few holes in there for, you know, a couple live centers, a couple drill chucks, things like that. So those will be nice and organized as well. But that's the kind of general idea that I come up with for just a real simple shelf. The broken edge on it gives it some stiffness there in the middle so it doesn't try to bend and flex. I think that's going to work out pretty good. And if for some reason this overhang, I don't want it overhanging any more on the back than I have to, but if for some reason this starts to bend and it's not rigid enough, we can certainly just drill some more holes in the aluminum and slide it on back a little bit further like that. But I kind of want it overhanging as a little further that way. Every inch makes a difference to me right there. So we're going to go over there and to the table and get them drilled now. I'm using my Vortex tip drill bit to drill this. This hand drilling is where these drills actually work really well. It's kind of like a little step drill. Let's see if I can get this. It's kind of up high. Let's see if we can make it happen though. Okay. Easy does it. Tried to walk on me. We're going to get this bolted up so that we can see what it's going to be like, but I'm actually going to, I don't have the hardware that I want to do this or the washers, so I'm going to change those out once I grab I have what I need at the other shop, I just didn't have what I needed here. But we're going to see how this is going to work. Let's see if my holes line up anyway. Looks like they line up perfectly. Yep. Let's see, I don't even know. Yeah, I can reach that here. I think that's gonna work pretty good. It's probably gonna make our light shake a little bit if we're hammering on it too hard, but I don't think it's gonna be a problem just for a static shelf for our tools to set. I'll see how our rubber looks. I'll probably have to take our rubber, maybe stamp some holes in it to clear the bolts so that we don't have, so that it's, you know, sits flat. All right, here's our rubber mat. Gotta love it, right? Man, I don't know if you can see that. They didn't cut it to the right length that I gave them. Well, I guess that'll work. That'll probably work out fine anyway, since I was talking about drilling some holes down here on this side for our live centers. So we may just use what we have, but I wanted to see what it was like with the bolts there. We still may end up punching the rubber with a hole punch and relieving that so that it actually sits nice and flat on there. I don't know why they did that though. I gave them the measurement, the total length. All right. See how it's going to look here with some of our tools up there. Seems to not be flexing around on me and moving all over the place. We got one of our parting tools there. A couple of bore and bar holders. These usually, once I load them up with bars, they'll stack in here like this. You can put a couple of them, you know, like that, long ways. An Armstrong holder, that'll have to kind of sit in there sideways. The rubber's got a nice stickiness to it, so they shouldn't slide around. I don't know how that'll be over time. It might get oil on there and make it a little more slick, but the same kind of setup that I've used before on a past lathe, and I think that's going to work out real nice. Let me, actually, another thing I want to do, let's run the lathe. Where are we at? I wanted to see how it sounded with the shelf up there. It sounds about normal. So we're over here working, you know, we're doing our turning. We want to swap out a tool, take it out, set it up there, grab another one, bam. Makes it really nice. This, the coolant spout's kind of in the way a little bit. You know, just now getting used to this, what we may end up doing with this when we're not using it is maybe just flip it to the back side there where it's kind of out of the way. I'll tell you one of the things I noticed about that, let me go ahead and point this out, was when you're coming up here with the tailstock, move the tool back here. Oh, we're approaching zero. One of the things I noticed, this is just a critique on this, you know, the engineering of the machine. When you come up here with your tailstock and you want to lock it in, see this, the pipe and the ball valve is so close to the handle on the tailstock that you actually, if you're not careful, you're not thinking about it, you actually kind of hit your knuckles a little bit on that. That's my only real gripe that I've got on the machine so far, is that it just seems like this is always right where your hand is supposed to be when you're locking the tailstock. I think that it should have been mounted a little bit further back. Like there's a little mounting block back here, a little clamp block that this is mounted to, and this may be a modification we make later. Take this off and I can just machine another block that maybe moves this pipe back maybe like 2 inches out of the way so that you have a little more clearance with your hand. That should not affect the reach of it anyway, but just by moving it back a couple inches. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to point that out since this was kind of up here. But I'm happy with our shelf there. I think that looks good, and that's going to be a great improvement over using our Precision Matthews lathe. This will give you an idea of what I'm talking about doing with our drills and centers. I don't want to drill them yet because I've been wanting to get me another 18-inch drill chuck to have down here to be able to use on both of our lathes. And so I would like to have a spot for the 18-inch, and it's going to be bigger than that drill there. So I'm thinking I'll have either 3 or 4 holes drilled right here. I'll probably just bring the one down here from the home shop. That way I can get this laid out the way I want it and have at least 3 holes here for our drill chuck and our 2 centers. I'm going to be replacing one of these centers. I'm going to buy another one because these are the ones I use at the house. But 2 centers, a nice drill chuck, maybe even a couple small holes for the chuck keys to sit in there as well. But that'll give you an idea. Once I get all this done, I'll show you that once all that's finished up. So I had him cut another piece of rubber for this cover that we had made. Yeah, that's going to work good. Put the cut edge to the back. You got a little variance in the straightness there, but that's going to work pretty good. And I do have one of those Hewitt Master tap dispensers on order. Apparently they're going to have to manufacture it because they said it's going to be like 6 to 8 weeks delivery. So I do have it on order, and whenever it's ready, we're going to put that up here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and just use this as a workbench to set tools on. So we've got our reduced shank drills that we'll put up here. I've got this set of numbered drills. I'm going to keep those up here. And then we've got one more thing. You guys can see that? Yeah. I have my 0 to 12 inch set of mics here. This is a used set that I bought a few years ago from a viewer. He found them online on Craigslist and got them, and we didn't, I think Keith Rucker bought the other set, and they weren't really that expensive. It was like a couple $100 for that full set of mics right there. But we'll, for now, we'll just set them right up here and have a full set of mics here in the shop to use. All right, that looks a lot better. I like it. Hey guys, I'm down here at the new shop. I got a few little projects I'm going to continue working on. Some shop projects to make some improvements. I've been grabbing tools, bringing down. I've also got some new tools in. I've been making a little tool order here and there, some things that I know that I need or want for the new shop here, and I've got a few of those that's here. I'll show you what we got. But let's start right over here at the smart washer and the Flexarm right here, and I was going to show you that this was a milling vise that belonged to my dad. This is the one that he always used on the do-all mill, and I've just been kind of holding on to it. So I finally cleaned it really well. It was really nasty and dirty and just packed full of chips. So I cleaned this up, and for now, we're going to be using this vise over here for the Flexarm. I'll move the Wilton. We may move the Wilton back there, and we'll set our mill vise right there. So that's one project I'm going to work on getting it mounted up here for our Flexarm, because I want to test this guy out and see how this thing is going to work. Another project I'm going to work on is this guy right here. So this is the cool mist tank that I've had for years. I cleaned it up. It was nasty and dirty. And what I'm going to be doing with this is using it as just a tank for my Noga Cool. So I have my buddy Joe at the welding shop. He fabbed up this little bracket for me right here. And what I'm going to be doing with this is mounting it to the side of the milling machine right here. So it'll actually straddle right there. And we'll just mount it somewhere in that general area. And the cool mist tank will sit right there and within reach easily of our Noga Cool. That's another tool that I've got. Still got in the box, but let's take another look at this guy. So we'll just put the hose just right in there. And this is where our mist coolant will always stay. And we'll just be able to mount it just like that, right there to the side of the mill in a convenient place. I believe I showed that as well. That's a light that I added to the mill. It makes it really nice. Just push button there. So that'll help light up when we're over here working on our projects. And the use of soft light, I think, works better whenever you're showing machining. The really blue light doesn't really come out so well. So anyway, we got this little project right here. We're gonna get that mounted on there. I've been getting some more tools here. So this is a live center that I got from the TMX brand, Toolmex. And I think it's gonna be pretty nice. I picked this one out because it's a little more, it's a slim design, if you will. So it's a little smaller in diameter. It's about the same size, that guy right there. But it's got the extended point so that you have a little more clearance when you're down here trying to turn small diameters and you're in here with your turning tools. So this is my first center made by TMX, but always really high quality tools made in Poland. So I highly recommend them, and they don't break the bank either on how much that stuff costs. So I may end up ordering another one of these to use at the home shop too, because all of my centers are very old and used and worn out. I got a set of hammers. This is the first one that showed up, but it was a set of 3, the WIA brand soft blow hammer. This is the big boy. There's 2 other hammers to go with that. We have a supply of tools from Micro 100, and this is the Micro Quick boring bar system. I've showed these before, but I wanted this same setup here at the new shop for the Precision Matthews. So this is the bar holder here, and they make this style in different size shanks for the carbide. I went with the 1/2-inch shank this time, and I've got a few different bars here that fit down in this holder here, just like so. And you got a simple set screw there that locks it in. Anyway, I'm trying to show you with one hand there, and it's not working real well. But anyway, Micro Quick bar system with different bars. I've got some of the brazed on tools of different sizes, left, right, style C. You know, we have our threading and chamfering tools there as well. So we got a few of those. So that's some of the new tooling for the shop here. I got my universal bracket from Reelcraft, so I'm going to get this mounted up on the wall and get our last cord reel hung there as well. So whatever else I get into, I'll kind of show you as we get working on this stuff. All right, we got the Flexarm set up. I want to do a couple of tap demos for you. So I am hooked up to the 3/8 air hose. I did it once using the 1/4 inch. I think the 3/8 is going to give us just a little bit more capacity because of the improved airflow through the 3/8 versus the 1/4 inch hose right there. So this is a 1/2-13 tap spiral fluted. I did one and it worked great. I am using the low gear, so you have 2 gears here, low and high. I believe it's 100 RPM and 400 RPM. The high RPM has a little bit less torque. All right, so, and then this is the reverse right here. Got some anchor lube here we'll use. All right, here we go. There it is, clutching out so you don't break the tap. So we are at the bottom of the hole there. So we'll go ahead and just reverse it out. Just as easy as that. Worked great. This is a block that I drilled a while back at the other shops. I still have a few more holes here we can use for some demo. I've got another one down there that I could use for some smaller taps. But this will get us going here and see how the Flexarm is going to perform. Well, we were off to a great start, and then here we are on like the 5th hole, and I ended up breaking a tap. And honestly, this is the very first time I have ever broken a tap using a Flexarm. Unfortunately, it was with our new pneumatic Flexarm there. So my suspicion is that the tap holder clutch was adjusted too tightly. So I have made the adjustment, and what you do is you remove this retainer ring here, and the retainer ring lines up with these notches milled in there to that nut. And they provide you a little spanner here. So we have the spanner. And what you do is once you remove the retainer ring, you adjust it either counterclockwise to loosen it or clockwise to tighten it up. So I went counterclockwise to loosen it up, and I went 2 notches. They say go 1 notch at a time, but I went 2, and we've got the retainer ring back in there. And I will try it again to see if that's too loose. You'll know if it's too loose because it just won't even tap, or if it's just right. But unfortunately, I don't have any more 1/2-13 spiral fluted taps on me. And that's what I want because it's the bottom hole there. And once I get some more taps, we'll try it again. Guys, I want to back up here to the Flexarm again because this was bugging me. And I think I figured out why I ended up breaking a tap. I don't think it was the machine's fault. I think it was my fault. you see this block? It's got this sheared side here, and on the bottom it's radius there as well. And whenever I put this in the vise here, I did just like that. I wasn't really paying attention. Clamped it in. And I think by clamping it like this here, the holes are not in line when I drilled them. If I take the parallel and push it back, you'll see it's kicking the plate up. I'm sure whenever I drilled it, I had the parallel about like that there, you know, because I know it's square on that side. That's a bandsaw cut side. And it should have been somewhere like that. But if you'll watch, as I pull this parallel forward, the plate kicks down. I believe that's why the tap ended up breaking, is because I didn't have the spindle in line with the axis of the hole, because I wasn't sitting flat down on there. I want to say that's what my issue was. So I still got to get another tap from the home shop, and we will give this another shot. But I think that's what my problem was to start with, is because I'm just using, you know, this was just an old drop piece of flat bar, hot roll flat bar, that I had used for some testing down on the other Flexarm. So we'll come back and keep playing with this and see if that's what the problem was. I'm going to get the 2 holes drilled and tapped for our cool mist tank. Got the first one spotted in here. We'll get it bolted on level, transfer the other side. So I've got these stainless steel button head bolts that I've been using to, you know, mount the accessories over here on the mill. That's what we'll use. Just use we'll use a level. Get it level. Dang, that looks spot on right there where I tightened it up. That is level. Sometimes we get lucky. I think that's going to work good, just like that right there. Yeah, that's level right there. So I've got a transfer punch. Transfer this hole here. By the way, I'm using that, using the Vortex drills, and they work excellent on jobs like this, especially going through this cast iron. Just such a free cutting drill. Love using them. I'm hand tapping like this. I just try to get it started, try to get in there 1 or 2 threads, and I just kind of stand back and look to see if it's level and if you're square side to side. And as long as you're not pulling too hard to one side on the tap, it'll help center itself on the hole as you're going in there with it. Man, like it was made for it. So this is the mister that I'm going to be using. This is what I use on the other machines at the home shop. This is the Noga Mini Cool. And the reason why we're just using the tank to hold our cool mist for the Noga Mini Cool. So one of these, let's see, one of these is going to go into the tank. It's going to be this guy right here. That's where it siphons it. So we can just simply stick it in there like that. I may end up doing something a little more custom to kind of hold the thing in there instead of that lid being open. We may end up taking this off and just making some kind of like, you know, like a rubber boot or something that it'll shove through and keep it in there. And then on this side right here, you have a magnetic base so you can attach it to the table or whatever. But I'm continuing to think about how I want to do this, because there's usually not a lot of handy places over here on the mill to stick this exactly where you want it. And I was thinking about maybe investing in another Noga arm that would possibly be mounted up here on the machine, like maybe right here where this hole is, and have some kind of support for this to go on that you can then easily just kind of move around with an articulating arm and make it a little more convenient. And then when you're not using it, you can just fold it up here out of the way, and it's out of the way. So I'm going to keep thinking about this and playing with it, and then when we get this figured out, I'll show it to you. But so far, this is going to work out nice, having that little tank there on the side of the mill for our mist coolant. All right, so I just continued on with our mods here for the cool mist tank. So what I did is I took this off, use this as a template. I got another piece of rubber over there, and I just traced it out, cut it with the knife, just held it down, drilled the 4 holes, and then I've got the center of it cut so we can take the suction nozzle and just stick it through the rubber, and it's going to kind of hold it there. So I think this is going to work out pretty good. Let's see if I can get it screwed down on there. I think that's going to work out nice. Just stick our hose right through there. I think that's going to work out good. Let's go see how it fits up with the hose. All right, and then our suction hose will be here, and we can fine tune those banjo bolts there and kind of get these hose positioned where we want it, but should be able to just do something like this right here. Just like that. Yep, it's going to work out good. That's a good mod and a good use for the cool mist tank right there. I like it. These banjo bolts is what I was talking about. You can kind of tweak these if you need to, so loosen them up. Just kind of, that's about as far as I can go. I'm just going to point it that way a little bit more and snug it up. And this may end up being a good location for the Noga, the magnet for it to stay is on the bottom here, because I actually have full contact with the magnet. There's no paint there. So we have a good strong hold right here. And I think I got plenty of reach there with the nozzle to be able to position it where I want. If we need to, we can slide this forward some if we need to wrap around a little bit further. And then when we're not using it, we can just simply push it up out of the way. So I think that's going to work out good right here, instead of mounting another Noga arm over here for it to sit on. I think we're going to leave it there for now and use it and see how this works out. This is a follow-up segment on the Reelcraft hose and cord reel installs. This guy right here, this was the last one I had, and I was waiting on the universal bracket. So we just got it mounted up, bolted in place, got the wire kind of zip tied to make it look kind of clean there, and there it is. We can just simply swing this around whenever we want to use it and pull it out. Very convenient to have an extension cord like this put up out of the way. Just like that. Makes it so nice. Swing it over here out of the way. This side isn't going to puncture the insulation because it's just a soft plastic cover there. So we can just simply push it in there out of the way when we're not using it. Just like that. That is ready to go. So all of our hose and cord reels are now installed. All right, now we've got our cool mist ready to go. So I'm moving over here to the Precision Matthews lathe. And what I'm going to do is drill our new shelf here. I'm going to put 3 holes here for a couple drill chucks and centers, and be able to just stand those. We'll be able to flip those upside down and just stick them right there in the hole. That's going to be a great spot for these guys to sit right here. This is a really nice Rome chuck that was given to me several years ago by a viewer, and it has a capacity up to 1 inch. So I'm going to use it here for this lathe. But I do want to replace this Jacob chuck with probably a 14 in, and put this one back up because I really just don't like the way that one feels. But we'll have 2 drill chucks and a place for a center, and then we'll of course have a center in the tailstock there as well. So that's going to make great use of this end of the shelf there. We're going to be going with the 1 1/4 hole saw. That should provide enough clearance for the number 4 Morse taper to sit all the way down through there. I just went ahead and drilled my pilot hole so that it's already lined up there. And then we'll try a little bit of this anchor lube on the cut. See how that does. Definitely not a very pretty cut, but you cut it. Yeah, that's going to work fine. We'll just deburr the holes real good, dress those up, get rid of that burr underneath there. That's going to be good. I'll wait till I get them all drilled to clean up all the burrs here, or the chips, I mean. All right, big drill chuck.
1/2-inch drill chuck, and then I also have this. This was an extra bullnose center that I had at the shop, so I wanted to have one down here. So that'll sit there like that. Or you go to take the drill chuck out, drop a live center in there. Regardless, that's a great way to store these Morse taper shank tools here for the lathe. Keep them in one place and out of the way and well organized. All right, we've made it back with another tap. We're gonna give this another shot here. We've got 2 more holes left. I'm gonna show you a couple things. So I've got a 27/64 drill bit in this chuck here. This is your tap size for 1/2-13. And of course I got the block now sitting flat on the parallels instead of up here on this curved area. Fits down in the holes just like it's lined up the way it should be. So that should be good to go right there. That should be lined up. I'm also going to show you that if I take our magnet, I have stoned the top of this vise jaw right here. Also stoned the bed of the vise and the vise jaws themselves. But if you come down here with the magnet, and I set it to that. Okay, it should be set nice and square. This should be parallel to the bed of the vise. But when I checked it here, I also checked it in the bed of the vise there, and it was square also. So the spindle should be square and in line with our holes. Okay. All right. So we have got a brand new Cleveland 1/2-13 spiral fluted tap. This was the same tap that I broke yesterday. Matter of fact, there's the shank for it right there. So we got a brand new tap. We're going to give this another try. Now I did make that adjustment on this tap holder, so now it might be a little too loose. It may try to clutch out before we even get all the way down in there. So I need to hook up the air. We'll give this a shot. Okay, we got our air hooked up. We're gonna use this anchor lube again. Okay, move this off out of the way. And let's go for it. All right, it clutched out. Maybe our adjustments are gonna work there. It actually sounded nicer on that one too, because I noticed whenever I was cutting the other holes that the pitch of the air motor changed as we went further down in there, probably because it was at a bind and it was really digging in on 2 sides as we were doing that. So better luck today. I think it's working like it's supposed to be working. I think we've got it figured out. You know, it's very important that when you're using a Flexarm or any machine tool for that matter, that your workpiece is aligned with your spindle. And I think in this case, I had this workpiece in there crooked, so the tap was going in at an angle, which is what caused it to snap. You know, this machine is designed to prevent tap breakage, so it is a little bit of an embarrassing moment when you're using your new Flexarm and you end up breaking a tap, but I believe it was my fault on why it did that, not having the hole aligned. So that did really well there. I think even our adjustment on the clutch it's still good right where it's set. And I'm real happy with this. This is a really nice mobile unit that we can push off out of the way. We'll find a spot where it'll stay whenever, you know, we're not using it, pull it out, hook the air hose to it, and, you know, we're off to the races. So I'm real happy with the Flexarm. I think it's going to do good. This was a good little demo that we got to use it on right there. Guys, I think that's about all I have for this particular episode of Saturday Night Special, but there is something else that I wanted to mention to you and talk about. And in this particular video, maybe a couple other ones, you might have noticed I sound a little stuffy in my nose, my sinuses, and that's because I just recently had a procedure done where they go up, I know it's called the something balloon dilation, where they actually go up into your sinuses inside your nose there and expand it with a balloon and basically open up your sinuses. I had that done a few days ago. and I had to rest a few days, you know, not doing anything strenuous, but it's been a few days after that. So I'm back in the shop getting some of these projects done and starting to get back into the swing of things. And I'm still stuffy, and they said that it could take at least 5 days before you start really clearing up. And I can tell a difference already that I'm finally starting to get some proper drainage out of my sinuses here. That was one of the other problems, is because I was so clogged up that my sinus cavities up in here, they couldn't drain properly. So I don't know, hopefully within another week or so, I'm gonna be completely healed up and kind of get back to normal. And this is something I've been battling for a few years now. You know, it was an ongoing problem that I never really give much thought about, but it continued to get worse and worse to where, you know, I was getting like sores inside my nose. I'm always stuffy. I started using that Afrin spray. Once I started using that, you know, I realized there's something wrong here, because you're not supposed to use that, but just, you know, temporarily, like if you're sick. And so I went to the doctor. They referred me over to a special doctor there that deals with nasal and nose issues, and they decided to do that procedure. So hopefully it's going to help me out. And once I get kind of cleared up and the inside of my nose is fully healed again, maybe I should get back to my normal voice where I don't sound so nasally and congested whenever I'm talking to you on camera. And that's the goal anyway, get back to, you know, a healthy sinus cavity up there. So anyway, I did want to kind of mention that, and I posted about it on Instagram and my Facebook page, and there was actually quite a few people that commented saying that they weren't aware of procedures like that in ways that maybe they could be helped as well. And that's something that I did want to say, is that if you feel like you might have sinus problems happening as well, because they said the older you get, the more that it's going to get worse. Go in and see a doctor, because they may be able to help you out and do the same kind of thing. There's been a lot of people that commented and said that they had it done and it helped them out tremendously, and they can finally breathe again. That's the whole goal, is that you can finally breathe without feeling like your nose is completely just clogged up and stopped up all the time. So go talk to your doctor. They might be able to help you out too. But hopefully in a week or two, you know, I'll start sounding like I'm going to get back to normal with my voice and my talking, and not sound like I'm sick all the time. So anyway, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll see you again very soon. Okay?